everyone, Stitching Niche. I'm back for an update video. It's been 5 months since my last video. Sorry it's taken me so long, but I have had enjoyable but very busy fall semester. As I may have mentioned in my last video that I accepted the position of interim chair for our school, Community College of Aurora, and it has kept me busy, but in a good way. I've totally enjoyed doing the work. So, and plus I've been busy doing other things. I went to multiple concerts. We went on a trip to Salida, which is in Colorado. That was super fun. All of my kids have moved to Colorado, so that was a big deal and super happy about that. And cooked all Thanksgiving all by myself. No one helped, and I was happy with that. And Christmas. So we've been busy. Semester's about to start. We're on a snow day, sort of work from home day today. It's Monday, January 15th, by the way. And then tomorrow we're probably going to work remotely as well because it's snowing and it's continuing to snow, which has been fun. So lots of fun stuff. I'll post pictures from the past few months as my kind of cards between sections so that you can see some of the things I've had fun doing. I did get to go see Sting at Red Rocks, which was amazing. So I have lots of things to share with you. I'm not going to do a whip parade, mainly because it is kind of unorganized, and I think everyone has kind of seen enough whip parades at this point. But I don't have as many whips. You know, I was known for having over 100 whips, but I'm down to like 23 whips now. So I know for some of you, you're like, that's a lot of whips. But I've changed some things up since my last video. We moved these shelves in, so I've got these boxes that hold fabric for my shop. And then I was able to get all of my patterns on the top and bottom. And then I'm kind of threw everything crazy up there. So it's kind of still messy. I've rearranged my walls a little bit, mainly out of necessity because they kept falling off the walls. I was using those command strips and they don't work on these walls. So I have been rehanging things. I can tilt it so you can see. And I'll slowly turn so you can see over here. I've changed up some things over there. Oh, and I brought my Nicholas and Brittany were using this. This was my aunt's chest of drawer. I've had it probably since I was 12 years old, but it holds, I've got like finishing stuff in this, these two drawers. I forget what I have in here, but this one's full of fabric and the bottom one's full of floss. I wonder what I have in there. I'll have to look. Anyway, so just some rearranging going on. These are all the little stuffed animals my husband has gotten me over the years, except for this one. That one I got when I was 6 months old. He's an old one. Anyway, that has nothing to do with cross stitch. So I'm going to show my finishes. I've got some whips and some plans. So we'll get right to that. All right, so first up are the finishes that I have finished since kind of mid-December. I have quite a few to share with you, but the first one I want to show you is my snow project. So Julie from Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World was the first person I heard describe this, where she picked a project and every snow day she worked on that. So I'm like, I live in Colorado now and it snows, so I picked one. I picked a Santa from the Christmas Remembered books from Leisure Arts. So these are from the 80s and 90s. And the first one came out of book 1, and it is Ever Green, Ever Giving. So I finished him yesterday. He is so pretty, lots of detail, lots of back stitching, but I'm super happy with this. So I'm going to stick to this kind of theme for my snow day because it's snowing today. And you'll see in my whips, I started a new snow day project. My second whip is a Just Nan project. So Just Nan, if you're familiar, has all these little tiny, very detailed pieces. She has all these mice, and I've been collecting them. So I started this in January of 2023. someone on Facebook decided they wanted to do a Just Nan start, and I said, oh, I'll start. And I've worked on it for one day, and I got the frames on these first 3. And then I don't think I touched it again until December. And then I decided to make this my, 25/7 project. So I worked on it at least 25 minutes, 7 days a week. And in December, I finished it right at the end of December. So I haven't fully finished it, but I can show you the parts. Maybe today, if I don't get 100 emails like I've been getting, I will fully finish this. So this is the scissor roll. You see how detailed everything is? It's got lots of little beads, some over one stitching, but it's super cute. And then this, it's not obvious, but this is the mouse. I just have to FFO it. So, funny story about this. I've been collecting some of these little mice, and I thought I had all 4 of these. So I was pulling out my projects, deciding, because I'm going to start the spring one in March. I'm like, oh, I need to get them together. And I was going through and realized I didn't have the autumn one. So I'm like, okay, I'll go online and find it. And you can't find it. You can. You've got to pay a ridiculous amount for it. So we have a shop it's in Inglewood, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, Colorado people. But it's in the Denver area. It's called A Stitching Shop. So I stopped by their shop on the way home from work one day and talked to the owner, and she's like, well, let me go check. She goes, our computer says we have one, but that doesn't mean anything. And sure enough, they had one. So I have all 4 of them. Super happy. Just Nan stuff. If you're interested in Just Nan, contact a stitching shop here in Colorado. I will put her information down in the description box because she has a ton of Just Nan stuff. So that's my second finish I'm sharing with you. Let's see. The next one was another year-long project. It was the temperature butterflies. So I stitched the high temperature for each day of the year for Littleton. Ken Carroll, I think, is where it's actually. But this is the finished product. I think it is so pretty. I have to order a frame for it. But look how cold January is compared to the rest of the year. And I was trying to decide if I'm going to do another temperature. I don't think I'm going to do another temperature one this year, but this is really pretty. This is from Stitchy Mommy on Etsy. She has several of these. I think she has some of the cutest temperature charts, so I'll link her Etsy shop below. If anybody designs these, you know it would be pretty as feathers. So just to throw that out there. All right, and I finished that on January 1st. So the next thing I want to show you was another December finish, start and finish. So I was in, I guess it's through Dying to Stitch, one of their clubs a few years back. So I still have projects that I haven't done. And I'd gotten this chart or kit from Pineberry Lane. And I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I always say it wrong. But Joyous Noel. And I started and finished it. So let me show you it. And I'm getting ready to fully finish so it's nice and ironed. Isn't that beautiful? So I have that. I have the backing material. And then I've got to just sew it together. And then the next thing I want to show is my January start. So January 1st, I started Holiday Hoopla Christmas from Brenda Gervais. And I'll explain about this start in just a second. And it's tiny. I worked on it a couple of days and I've got it fully finished. No, I've got it finished. I'm going to FFO it probably this afternoon. But I know it's kind of hard to see. But once I get it in the hoop, you'll be able to see that snowman. That's better. So that was my finish for my January start. So I've had, how many finishes have I had? I've had three finishes this year. The Holiday Hoopla, the Winter Mouse Sewing Roll, and then Evergreen Ever Giving. So 3 finishes. All right, so next up is whips. Okay, so I'm going to just share with you what I've been stitching on this month that I haven't finished. I'm not necessarily continuing to stitch on all of these, but the ones that I am stitching on. And I'll show you my project bags. I've become obsessed with So Much to Love bags. I know I mentioned this in a previous video. I have a box that I keep all of my whips in, and these fit perfectly in that box. So I have reduced all of my project bags to just this style project bag. And then I'm obsessive about things, so I also want to have the little sidekick that goes with it. I would prefer to have it match, but sometimes I'm retroactively buying these, so this is the closest I could get to the Charles Wysocki. Anyway, that has nothing to do with my stitching, but my little bag, my little sidekick contains my scissors and my flosses, keeps it all nice and neat, and I feel organized. But the first thing I want to show is a very old whip, one that I decided I wasn't going to finish the whole thing, and that's Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. I don't have the cover for it because I got rid of the chart. Actually, the only piece that I have is the top part that I'm still working on. I don't remember what I did with the chart, but I can't find it. I'm afraid I might have thrown it away when I was cleaning. I'll explain that in a minute. All right, so this is my progress. So I did 4 blocks and then cut the bottom off. I am currently working on the banner at the top. And again, this is Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. I'm stitching it on 36 count sheep straw from R&R, and I only did 4 blocks, which my last video, I probably showed you that 4th block. I finished it maybe a week ago, and now I'm working on this top part. I'm stitching it in silks, but it's not the called for silks. I'm looking at the DMC conversion and matching that to silks that I have on hand. So I got really frustrated with this, and I think the reason why had nothing to do with the actual project, but it had more to do with the flosses, because it seemed like every time I pulled this out to stitch, I wouldn't have a particular floss. So I went through and made sure I had all the flosses for the last block, and I did the same thing for this one, so it's making it easier to stitch. And I'll talk about towards the end of my video some of my new organization. I watch Flosstube all the time, but I was listening to Kathleen from Kathleen's Trodden Trails, one of my absolute favorite Flosstubers, and she was talking about the way she organizes her floss, and that had me think about the way I'm doing mine and how that probably causes more frustration. So I'll talk about how I'm doing that differently later in the video. All right, so this is my 25/7 right now. I'll work on it 25 minutes a day, 7 days a week until I finish it. Maybe by the end of January. I don't know. Those are 3 big pumpkins at the top of that. So that is my current 25/7. Now, the other thing that I do each month, I work on a project for 7 straight days. I got this from Stitching Sarah. She talked about working on a larger project for 7 days before she moved to something else each month. Well, I've decided I'm going to do 7 days on a project and do that multiple times. So I've got 3 different projects I'm going to show you that are 7-day projects. So the first one is my oldest whip. Jenny, I know. I'm working so hard on this. It is a piece from when was this? 2010, I think. And it is Splinter Florals. If you've been watching my video, you are probably sick of seeing this. But I have finished 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm stitching it on a piece of 32 count antique, or it's either antique white or cream linen. And I'll show you the whole thing because it is huge, and then I'll show you the one that I've been working on. Apparently something is happening. Oh, hold on a second. I've got the needle. Okay, so I started this in 2014. I started with the mace, what is that, Lily of the Valley. Then I moved over and I stitched those roses. Then I think I did the daffodils and then the violets. No, I did the September, the morning glories, then went back to the daffodils and the violets. I did the poinsettia, and currently I'm working on the chrysanthemums or the mums. So that's 2 months of 7 days of stitching. I had to do one whole day of taking out because I messed up on one of the colors, but it's pretty. I think I could probably finish this block by March, and that leaves me with 4 more blocks to do, and my goal is to do as many of those this year as possible. So it's really pretty. Once you do, that's just the stitching, then you do the back stitching, and then it makes it stand out kind of like this one. But again, I will work on that. I worked on it the first 7 days of January, and I will work on it the first 7 days of February, and so on and so on. So again, I started this in 2014. I probably stitched 4 of the blocks in the past 2 years. I've not evenly worked on this. All right. Now, the next 7 days, I worked on a project that I started in December. And I'm doing this as a stitch along with several of my friends. It is the Fabulous Houses #1 Santa's House from Cottage Garden Samplings. And I'm not going to do all the houses, but when I saw this, I was like, I love that. I'm going to stitch that. And I am using a 32 count. Oh, this is one thing I do love about her chart. She has a place for you to write all the information down. I started this on December 15th. I am using 32 count Olympus from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I'm using the Call for DMC, but I switched out the 2 Classic Colorworks, Ladybug and Plymouth Rock. I'm using some of my Victorian Motto flosses. So I have worked on this the past 7 days and multiple more days, but this is how far I've gotten. I love that red on this fabric. And I still have the top roof and then that bottom section of the house to do. And then it's just little bits. So maybe I can work on this in February as well. This is a fun one to stitch on. So I have it in my newest bag from So Much to Love, and I got my little sidekick from that. Oh, in my Splendor of Florals, this is also a So Much to Love, and I've got another little sidekick. I'm like obsessed with this, people. So that's my last. I worked on that 8th through the 14th. And then I've got a new one that I will start working on today. And that is Painted Flowers by Shakespeare's Peddler. When I was in Mississippi back in May, I think, I saw the model of this, and it is beautiful. And I am stitching this on a piece of 40 count Black Forest from Lakeside Linens. And I started this, and that's as far as I've gotten. So not much. It's almost like a new start, but I will work on it for the next 7 days. I am using, I think it's only DMC. Let me see. It's a big chart. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's a lot more than I thought. Yeah, it's all DMC. There's 2 Corn Silk and Weathered Barn, but I'm using, I think, all DMC. Got my little sidekick with my flosses. All goes into this So Much to Love bag. This was my very first So Much to Love bag. Isn't that cute? Years ago. So that is my current 7 days. I'll work on that for the next 7 days. Other things that I'm working on. My new snow project is another one. This is the book that I'm using, Santa Remembered. It's the Christmas Remembered series, book 1. And I just started this today. It is called Christmas Writer. And I am stitching this on a piece of, I forget what it's called. It's like Witching Hour, I think, from Under the Sea Fabrics, 32 count. It's a dark blue. And I've stitched on it for 45 minutes, and that's my progress. That's the rein for the donkey. So, if you're concerned about the blue showing up on this, just let me show you the picture again, because it does have a lot of blue that's very close in color to this fabric, but all of that blue is surrounded by other colors, so it should stand out pretty well. So you can see that. It's going to be beautiful on that dark blue fabric. So that is my newest start, my newest whip. It goes in this little bag from So Much to Love. And I can show you this, my new way of organizing my floss. So my little sidekick. No, because it won't fit in there. So instead of pulling the DMC, I keep my DMC on the little floss bobbins in one of those little Bisleys. Instead of pulling those out, what I've done is I've gone and I've gotten some old cards. So I have a whole bunch of Valentine's cards. And I punched holes in them and just made a floss card using this. And then I pull about, what is that? About a yard. This is doubled over, so about a yard length, and maybe 1 or 2 of those from the floss bobbin. That way my floss stays all in one place, because it's frustrating when I've got floss everywhere. So that's one of the things I did in December, is I pulled all the floss out of all my projects. All the DMC went back into the DMC, collection, and I have one DMC collection. I did have my Bisley, and then I had a container with it, and I'm like, I do not need all this floss. If you're doing Goodwill around Littleton, you may find a collection of DMC, because I took all of it, made sure I had one of every color, every number in my Bisley, and anything else I donated to Goodwill. So I know people are like, how could you? But it's too much. I have too much. And I'm not going to use it. And I just know how excited I would be when I was younger if I would have found a DMC collection like that at Goodwill for a reasonable price. So somebody's going to be happy. All right. Last thing I want to share with you is and I'm just going to run this together. Well, let me pause. Okay, so the last little bit of stitching I want to share with you before I get to the giveaways is my plan. So I do want to start a lot of projects this year. I want to start newer projects. That's the only thing about having so many whips, is sometimes everybody's stitching new stuff and you're like, I can't get to the new stuff because I got all this old stuff to finish. So I ended this year with 23 whips. I will tell you, from my whips from previous years, I UFO'd 3 of them. So I did not throw them away. I didn't give them away. I just put them away because I may want to stitch them later. But I was stitching on a large kind of haunted house from Praiseworthy Stitches, and I'm like, I'm not going to stitch on that for a while. And then I was doing an Under the Sea sal from Lakeside Needleworks. It was a sal years ago, and I'm like, why am I stitching this? I don't like it. So I got rid of that. I cut it out, put the fabric back up. And then the other one that I UFO'd was Vintage Eggs by Prairie Schooler. I didn't stitch all of them. I stitched 2 of them that I liked and decided I don't have to stitch the other ones. It's not against the rules, so I called that a finish. I think that's it. No, there was another one from Blackbird Designs I talked about in a previous video, the Summer Jubilee. I was stitching it on a fabric and I didn't like the way it was showing up. Elizabeth Ann can stitch. Liz said she wasn't going to stitch it. I'm like, well, me either. So I quit on that one too. I'm going to restart it because I love that piece. But my plans are to start something new each month, but I don't want to start big things. My absolute favorite designer is Brenda Gervais. I think I could stitch everything she releases. And so I went through my stash. So you can see I have notebooks. These are all notebooks I ordered from Amazon. They're all the same. And then I have other notebooks too. But I just keep all of my charts in these. And I went through my Brenda Gervais, which is a bigger binder on the bottom, and I picked something that is appropriate for each month. So the first one was the snowman. So I've got them in a new notebook, or different notebook. I got this at, I don't know, TJ Maxx years ago. And I just have them in here, each chart. And then I've pulled fabric for some. But these are the starts that I'm going to do. So I'll just show you each month. In February, I'm going to start this Be My Valentine. It's not a lot. It's this tiny piece here, and then I think it's just like the needle book. So it's something that I could reasonably do within a few stitches, a few stitching days. And then I guess I'll show you what I'm going to do. In March, I'm starting... This isn't really easy for you to see. In March, I'm starting the rabbit and the rose. But I will show you each month what I'm going to be starting the next month. So in February, I'm going to start Be My Valentine, which is really cute. If you haven't done these, she has several of these little collections. But you finish them on candy boxes, like Russell Stover candy boxes. So there's your excuse for going ahead and buy your Valentine candy now, because you got to eat it so you can have it ready by Valentine's. Shucks. So she tells you what size to get, and I've done a couple of these, but super cute. So that's going to be a start on February 1st. All right, so I think that is all of my stitching. So I'll go ahead and talk about the giveaway, and then I'll talk about other crafting I've been doing. It won't take very long. But last video, my giveaway was a finished project. I have decided that I'm running out of wall space, and I love to stitch, but I can't keep everything. So, let me get the winner's name. It's on back here. So the giveaway was Miss Baxter's House from Stacy Nash. And the winner is Dorothy Benter 2714. I'll put my email here, and just email me and give me your address so I can mail this to you. So very pretty. I love it, but I just don't have room for all of these. So, all right. So this giveaway, sorry, Dorothy, I dropped it. All right, so this next giveaway, I have a shop, Jen's Stitching Niche. It's on Etsy now. So those of you who bought from my website will notice that website is closed down. I just moved back to Etsy. I had problems with Etsy before. They've resolved a lot of those issues, and it's just easier for me. I'll talk about other things that are coming up too. So I order from the Sampler Company, and I've got to order from her because I'm out of her Ultimate Motif Sampler book, or Sampler Motif book. But when I order from her, she seems to always send me an extra. So I have 3 extras that I'm going to give away. The first is Grace and Virtue. The second is Over the Hill Sampler. And the third is Lemon Tree Sampler. So if you're interested, just say sampler in your comment, and it will just be random. I'm not going to try to figure out who wants which one of these. I'll just, 1, 2, 3 will be sent to those individuals. Make sure that you are 18. I don't want any legal problems with getting your address. Please don't say anything about giveaway win. anything like that, I delete your comment because I just don't want to deal with that. You can subscribe. I'm not going to check that you're a subscriber, but please do subscribe. My subscription numbers, I would like to get to some higher numbers this year. And you're going, we'll make more videos. I know. So, but, I will have that drawing on my next video. So let's talk about that. I would really like to get into a regular schedule. I just applied for the permanent chair position, which I'm super excited about. I really like the job as the chair. I like having to solve problems, apparently. And I should know something maybe mid-February. But because of that position, I'm not teaching this semester. I've been teaching as a faculty member since 1998. And other than a summer here and there, I think I have taught every semester at least 3 classes, 2 to 3 classes. So this past semester, I taught 2 sections of Anatomy and Physiology 1 and totally enjoyed it. It was so much fun. Kind of sad I'm not going to teach that group AMP2, but I'm not teaching this semester. I won't teach again until August, so I'm not going to know what to do with myself. Now, many of you know I'm an author on textbooks, so that's my current edition of my 2 textbooks. We're working on the small one, and I will be finished with those chapters at the end of this month. So I really am going to be, and everybody's like, don't say that because you're going to be super busy. I am going to be super busy with a job. But again, I am used to being super, super busy. So I'm excited. Anyway, so what was I going to tell? I was going to tell you my plans. Oh, doing videos regularly. My plan is to try to do these at least once a month, maybe twice. If I can schedule them kind of around the 15th and the very end of the month, that would be ideal. So thing has been, I'll tell you one of the reasons I haven't been making videos is because the house is full and I'm kind of nervous and I don't know why. They don't care what I'm doing, but I'm getting we're kind of resettling into things. Nicholas and Brittany moved in October. Patrick moved in back in May. Patrick has a full-time position. Nicholas is looking for a full-time position. And Brittany's got a full-time position that works her. She's working all the time. Poor thing. We all got to stay home for snow day. She didn't get a snow day. She had to go to work. But anyway, so more regular videos, hopefully. All right. Okay, the last segment, I want to talk about some of my other crafts I'm doing because I love my crafts and some new things that I've found out about and shop update. So first of all, quilting. I have really been into my quilting lately. So I have currently 4 different quilts in play. I was working on a 5th one thanks to Liz from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. She is the most enabling enabler that I have ever watched, honestly. Liz, I love your videos and I just love coming up with new ideas after watching you of what I'm going to stitch or make. So I currently have an afghan that I'm crocheting. I'm knitting a scarf, actually 2 scarves, thanks to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. And I started and finished a quilt called the Madeline quilt. It's at the Quilters right now, so I'll show you that. That is strictly Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch influence. But I'm also working on the Be Vintage quilt from Lori Holt. I started it when everybody else started it, and then I quit because I couldn't keep up. But I've decided, I made a schedule. I only had, at the beginning of the year, I had 10 blocks left to do. I can do 2 blocks a week, and I can get these done mid-February. So I have currently the one, and I just have to stitch these down. This is Sunbonnet Sue. Isn't that cute? And this is an applique using the little cutouts that Lori Holt designs. If you haven't done one of these, her quilts are the easiest things in the world to make. They are beautiful. They make you look like you're an expert at everything, but her instructions are amazing. her methods are almost foolproof. I just love her stuff. So I finished that, or pieced that yesterday. I just have to whip stitch it down. This is the corsage. I did that one yesterday. Here's a couple of other ones that I've done since my last video. This is the little basket, flower basket. Isn't that beautiful? I messed up on my leaves. They're not the right way, but who cares? And then one more, the little cottage. Isn't that so cute? When I look at it, I get so excited. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. But it's because Lori Holt is amazing with her instructions. So after these, I think I have 8 more, or maybe 6 more. I just have to sew these down. Oh, I just messed this one up. My flower moved, but that's okay. I'll get that fixed. So that's one that I've been working on. Another one that I've been working on is the bunny garden. It was a block of the month from Scrap. All right, so I was talking about the bunny garden quilt. I'll pull that out and show it to you. Oops. It is this quilt. And it's from Shabby Fabrics. That's who it's through. And there are 12 blocks. I finished the 6th block the other day. No, that would be the 6th block. So I have 6 more blocks. I've got my schedule to finish 1 per week and have that one done by the spring. And then the last one is probably one of the oldest quilts I've been working on. I brought it from Mississippi, so that's been at least 3 years. And it's the Vintage Christmas from Lori Holt. So this is a pieced quilt. And I didn't, I bought the kit through Stitchin' Heaven out of Texas. I love their block of the months. And I'd done like 2 of them and then put it to the side because I was doing some other quilts. And then I was at Little Sandy's Quilt Shop in Arvada, Colorado. I'll talk about that in a second. And she was talking about how if you've got that quilt kit, you're so lucky. And I'm like, I have it. And so I'm like, I'm lucky. I need to acknowledge that and finish that quilt. So I've got it on the schedule to have that finished in August, because you do 6 blocks a month, and that's how I'm going to do it. 6 blocks a month, and I should have it finished in August. So that's my quilting update. Now let me go back to Little Sandy's. So those of you in Colorado, I know they do the Rocky Mountain Quilt Shop Hop, which I've done twice. And this year I did all of the shops at the Shop Hop, and I won a prize. I won the $100 gift card from each of the 9 shops, which means I have $900 in quilting gift cards to use by July. I couldn't believe it when they called to let me know. I was so excited. But now I'm like, oh, I don't know what to spend it on. So I've only used 1 to cover the cost of quilting, long arm quilting, and I've used 50 of the other one to buy the backing for that Madeline quilt. My husband's like, you're going to let those expire. You have no problem spending money, but if it's a gift card, I'm like, I know. So I need to go to a shop each month until I use up. So anyway, back to Little Sandy's Quilt Shop. She's a new shop. If you like Lori Holt, you need to go to that shop. It's in Arvada. The first Saturday of each month, she does a little presentation at 9 o'clock about items that she's, new to her shop or that she really enjoys, and then she has a special sale. She has a great shop. I love it. I went this past the first Saturday of January, and I ended up buying me a set of the new Mercantile Fat Quarter bundle from Lori Holt. I bought the new Mercantile. Do you know about these? The little tin cups from Lori Holt. I have way more of these than I need, but I'm collecting them. And then I got her newest scissors, so I feel so professional with my new scissors. But if you're in the area, you should stop at Little Sandy's Quilt Shop. She's amazing. What else did I want to share? I think that's it. I'm kind of out of practice, so sorry if this is rambling. I'll get better. Shop update. I'm back on Etsy. I pretty much have everything on the shop. I went through all of my fabrics. I just got a Picture This Plus order in right at the beginning of the year. And so there's some, well, I got it in December. So I do still have some Picture This Plus fabric in. I went through all of my charts and made sure everything was posted. Then I had some big sales over Christmas and cleared it out because market's coming and I need space. And I've reorganized my craft room where I have space. I've moved in 2 pieces of furniture and I actually have more space now than when those pieces of furniture were not in here, believe it or not. So I think the only thing I haven't posted on my Etsy site is the Weeks Dye Works flosses. So maybe I can work on that. I've been promising to do that for a while. But if you're interested, it's Jen's Stitching Niche on Etsy. I've been enjoying doing that and getting everything organized. It's just, I've got it all in the closet now. Super organized. Feel almost, it's amazing when I get things organized. My other thing is I've been purging my crafting stuff. So I belong to the Sampler Guild of the Rockies, and I've been picking out things for I think they call it the garage sale that we have in March. So I have a bag of stuff, and then just kind of going through stuff and saying, will you ever finish this? And realizing that I won't. Oh, I'm looking at this right there. That's the Autumn Mouse scissor roll that I got from a stitching shop. So, but yeah, if you look, there's a whole bunch of stuff under this table, but it's organized. So, all right, I'm just rambling at this point. I hope you have had a wonderful holiday season. I hope you are staying warm because apparently the whole United States is freezing right now. Even Mississippi is supposed to be getting some snow. Glad to be back. And like I've said before, hopefully I'll figure out how to do this on a regular schedule. Bye.